Hey, She Slayers, and welcome to another episode of She Slays the Day podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Brunswick. Okay, so today we are returning with one of my favorite types of episodes that, gosh, I don't even remember the last time we did a date night episode. It's been a minute. So occasionally, Kirby and I, in our travels, will find another couple that we just really resonate with on so many levels. I mean, I guess since I'm not talking about anybody personally, I don't have like it's really common where you'll meet like one person and they're like really interesting, but then like their spouse is a dud. Kirby, do you ever wonder if you're that spouse?
Yes.
Oh, Kirby's in the background. If you couldn't hear, he said, yes, you're not, honey. You're super cool. In fact, I think more people walk away from us being like, Kirby's actually really cool and he might make me look worse. But, anyways, so today we have on Abby and Odell, and they are not married yet. I'm sure they love that I said that. But no, you can just tell being around them, like that their vibrational frequencies, it just like resonates so well. And they are both so growth minded, spiritually, physically, mentally, having impact, real estate. Like they're just a cool couple. And so when we were sitting next to them at dinner back at Chiro WealthCon, we just had a really great time connecting. And I was like, hey, we should have both of you on the podcast. So that is today. It is all four of us, me and Kirby, sitting down with Abby and Odell. So let's talk about who these people are. Okay, so Dr. Abby Sirovica is a chiropractor that does not stay in the box. That is that's for sure, of being defined by any one label. She is interested in continually pushing the edges of what is possible for herself as a person and into this season of life, realizing she's an entrepreneur that just so happens to also be a chiropractor. This is why her and I can relate. This is evident by her 2 chiropractic locations, wellness coffee shop and cafe, 3 Airbnbs, 3 commercial properties, podcast, social media, and now growing an online business with her other half, Dr. Odell Miller. Dr. OD is a physical therapist who has always loved health and fitness. Yeah, he's a physical therapist. She's a chiropractor. Boom. This isn't weird at all. Some chiros and PTs, and we talk about it in their episode a little bit. Like some people just really get their undies in a bundle. And it's like, actually, they work really well together. He played college and NFL football, built a 6-figure online business while in physical therapy school. Okay, we're going to get back to his bio in a second, but he's hilarious because I feel like this is exactly how I would enter. Like if I had a digital online like revenue stream and then I went into a brick and mortar, I would be like, oh shit, this is a lot harder. Why did I do this to myself? But anyways, so while in physical therapy school, 6-figure online business, within a year of graduation, started his own business and grew it to $50,000 months, along with adding on an associate doctor within his first year. In the same first year, he bought a duplex rental property, has had multiple speaking engagements and travel. He's a successful online influencer, has a podcast, YouTube channel, and online business school. Together, they are just getting started. This past year, they've traveled at least 6 weeks and are both out of patient care and fully invested in helping build other leaders. They're on a mission to debunk the limited professional mindset of physical therapists and chiropractors, expanding what is possible and sharing their journey to reach and help more people. They believe life is abundant and collaboration happens at the top. Let's go. And they are truly incredible. They really are cool people. Like they both have podcasts. And I just really think that they show what is possible when you are best friends with your partner. When you are both cheering each other on, you know, I can't speak for them, but I know that in the last 2 years, really, so like Kirby and I will have been married 15 years this September. And I really feel like in the last 2 years is where our relationship kind of like even kicked it up another notch of like intimacy and vulnerability and truly trusting each other. And it goes both ways, right? Like, so if you from the outside look at Kirby and I, We are much more, like I look at Abby and Odell and they seem like very similar. Like, I think we even asked, like, you're both going all the time. Like, who's your brakes? I don't think they have one. Um, Whereas, like, I think you could, from the outside, can look and go, like, oh, Lauryn is this, Kirby is this. And you're probably right. But one of the things where we have really just expanded our relationship together is Kirby now trusts that when I am, most of the time, he trusts that when I am talking about a new idea or like, hey, I think that we should consider shutting this down. It doesn't seem like the profit margins are there anymore, or I think we should consider hiring this person or this or that. There used to be like a defensiveness. Like if you're the observant one in a relationship and you're married to someone who's like the direct communicator and the passionate one, a lot of times you may feel like you have to be on the defense right away of like, they've decided on this and I need to have time to like put my impact in on this and my 2 cents. And now I feel like Kirby just doesn't bring that defensiveness to the table. And that's probably because I don't bring things to him with my mind already decided often. and if I do, it's rare. And I will be like, okay, I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty decided on this one. So you're going to have to work hard if you're going to make this not happen. But also I trust that I can bring things to him and he's not going to black hat it, and that he's not going to pump those brakes, and that he is going to not get scared as I'm continuing to expand at a rate that I know is faster than he wants. And so I just really think that, for anybody who needs to hear that message today, Abby and Odell have been together for, I think, like around 2 years. I'm not sure, less than 3, but Kirby and I have been together for 15. And there is this like awkwardness in the middle where it's like, we were zigging and zagging together and we were jumping and jiving and all at the same rate and frequency in the beginning. And now it seems like we're working against each other. And what is that? And just know that like Kirby and I have been there, and there is absolutely the next level, the more beautiful next level of your relationship on the other end. But it does come with therapy, individual therapy, continuing, like both of he and I have worked on therapy together, therapy individually working towards becoming the best version of ourselves. And the best version of ourselves is always going to be like, not like stronger, bigger, better, faster, but like if you are that direct, bigger, better, faster, the better version of you is actually being able to hold on to that strength while holding place for slowness, holding place for your partner to feel safe, and then vice versa. If you're the slow one, it doesn't mean that you are having to become bigger, better, faster, but it allows allowing space for them to run in circles in a safe place, like a border collie being like, yeah, and like learning how to work that part of their brain where they feel safe and you're not suffocating or sequestering them. So for anybody who needed to hear that today, there's Lauryn's marriage advice. So I'm going to keep this prayer short because I feel like God kind of spoke through me in that moment. I wasn't planning on talking about that. So dear God, just please, anybody that needs to be inspired in their relationship today, whether they are just starting, whether they're single, let them see Abby and Odell's relationship and declare that is what they know you have planned for them. They know that they should not settle for anything less than a true partner that to do life with. And God, anybody who has been together in the 2 digits, I almost said 3 digits, but I don't think anybody's listening. I don't even know if that's possible. Has anybody been married for 3 digits? No, nobody listening has, but like, I suppose you'd have to be like 116 at least. And that's assuming, yeah. So nobody's 3 digits. Anyways, for anybody in the double digits of marriage, like, God, you put in one of those commandments something about honoring your spouse. I think I haven't read the 10 commandments in a minute, but like, just honoring that relationship and that person and that decision you made. And maybe things are rocky right now, and reminding them that like social media and everything around us will tell us that the grass is truly greener. Just go get it. Like, you deserve more. In fact, like, you deserve to be the best version of yourself for them, and you deserve to work on your relationship. So God, just be with anybody and everybody who needed to hear that today. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, without further ado, here is not Kirby Brunswick, my spouse. Poor Kirby. He's going to go get like an online doctorate in something so he can be like
not Kirby Brunswick, not a doctor.
Oh, I said not Kirby Brunswick, not a doctor. I don't know how to say. He's in the room. I don't know how to say your intro. He's Kirby, not a doctor, Kirby Brunswick, and Dr. Lauryn Brunswick with Dr. Abby and Dr. Odell, just on life. Enjoy. So, okay. So first question I like to ask. So first of all, it's been a long time since we've done a date night interview.
We're honored.
So what do you guys know your Enneagram, and what is it?
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah. My Enneagram,
Abby,
I don't remember, but
you
remember you're like, I know what you are.
Yeah.
What am I, Lauren?
You're a 7, but I don't, at first you came across like a 7, but like, you're starting these businesses like a 3, but that is a very 7 thing to do. But you still don't know.
I think I was a 3. Yeah. But I think you did say I was a 7.
It's one of those. It's definitely
it's one of those. We do know our culture indexes though now. So those are super helpful.
What is the culture index?
Oh my goodness, such a nice tool to understand how people work like within the office. So basically like socializers, or like I'm a philosopher, you'll have like he's a visionary with it. So just knowing off the bat, like people that are going to be a part of your team, are they going to be more inclined to support? Are they going to be caregiving doctors? Are they going to be more entrepreneurs? Are they like innate entrepreneurs that are like
an entrepreneur?
So that would be someone that is inclined to do business-like things and enjoys portions of it. So they present a lot like an entrepreneur, but they would not be as happy or fulfilled taking on full business ownership.
And risks.
Yeah. So they're actually like really perfect business builders though, because exactly.
Yeah, I feel like that is a really missing piece. It's almost like all of a sudden now we are talking about like the ambivert, right? Like up until recently it was like, nope, you're introverted or extroverted. And it's like, I feel like I'm not extroverted, but every introvert, like true introvert over here is like, you sure as shit ain't what I am. And I'm an extrovert. And so like, I feel like this intrapreneur is a really important thing within both of our professions, because like up until now, all I've heard is that like there are caregivers and there are business builders. Like I think the Remarkable Practice talks about like that, like where it's like you are either a business builder, aka entrepreneur, and you deserve to own your own business. But 80% of the profession is caregivers. And it's like, okay, there's got to be more to it than that.
For sure.
So Odell, do you, when in physical therapy, do you see a lot of the same push to go own your own? Like, I feel like that's something that PT does way better than Chiro, where there is such a better team. Like in Chiro school, Abby, I feel like if you, right before graduation, were saying you were going to associate, people were like, but like eventually you're going to own your own, right?
Yeah.
Like it was like this, like, oh.
Black sheep. The same way membership was at first. Like, wait, you do what? Or your cash? Like the same thing for, you're going to be an associate? Like this weird stigma with it. We talk about this all the time.
That's so cool because we're the complete opposite. So I was a black sheep opening my own business out of practice. Like that's unheard of. So like even it's unheard of opening your own clinic, but doing it out of school and doing cash-based, it was like, what are you doing? So it's totally opposite. So I've always looked to chiropractors for that because you guys, like, I don't know if they teach you entrepreneurship, what it is.
No, but they don't. They absolutely do not.
It's crazy. It's crazy. That's another conversation, but that's a huge missing link as well. But physical therapists, there's so many options with like the military, the hospitals, outpatient, all this type of stuff. So it's already like in the profession that you don't own your own practice. Like, especially
why
privately.
Would you take that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I definitely am a huge black sheep, so to speak, in that area. There's other people, of course, but it's definitely not as common. And there's like 1.2 million physical therapists or something in the world. So entrepreneurs, very, very small number.
What was did you just know you wanted to build something your own way, or you just didn't want to have a boss, or you had a whole different idea from the rest of your profession? Like what drove that?
So I always tell people, like, I'm an entrepreneur that became a doctor of physical therapy, not a doctor of physical therapy, burned out or earning low pay that, all right, I need to learn this entrepreneurship thing, if that makes sense. So I've always been entrepreneurial, like since middle school, selling candy in middle school. Before I didn't know it was entrepreneurial, I had a lawn care business where I would literally drive a moped and tow my push mower behind to go like do lawns for like babysitting businesses and stuff. So I've always been an entrepreneur. So I knew whatever I was going to do, I was going to be an entrepreneur. Even like with the NFL, when I was in the NFL, I was like, okay, I'm going to take my money and do something entrepreneurial with it. So no matter what I was going to do was entrepreneur all the way. So I never thought I would work for someone. I never have, and I never thought I would. So
have you guys discussed what are the main hurdles in getting started with your own practice that are like similar from like starting a chiropractic practice and a private PT practice, and what is different?
I think one of the biggest things too is just like people are unaware that that's even a possibility. So like you guys know it's a possibility where it's like, oh yeah, I know 7 friends that are graduating and starting their own practice. Oh, I know a few that's going to start in a couple of years. They're like, it's not even presented as a possibility. So I even struggle when we did mock interviews in school, and I hated it to a T. I was like, I will crush these interviews, but I don't even want to put myself in that mindset that I'm ever working for someone, which can be cocky to some people, but you guys know like it's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even want to sit here, dress up and play mock interviews because there are real people interviewing trying to get jobs. And I'm just like, I don't want to do this assignment. Like, give me a C or whatever you want to give me. But some people, they don't know it's an option.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because we've learned so much from one another, because he's helping to show physical therapists that getting out of the hospital system is an option. And I think that one of the things that we're trying to build at Grassroots is helping to show chiropractors that it's also okay to work as part of a team or a part of a really wonderful company. So being able to both like teach each other that, because the qualities he just stated are very amazing and they're driven. And just like that guy said, when we were wherever we were, he's like, you will build stuff, you'll get there, and then you'll build something new. That's not always the case when you are a chiropractor and you also have a family. You also have you're a mom. You don't love working 14 hours a day like we do. Like, we're in love with the grind, in love with the game and stuff. But it's like, oh, we can actually mesh both of these things, show chiropractors that you can work as part of a team and really healthy, cool systems. We can show physical therapists that, hey, you can work outside of that system, and that these things blend really well together, and that working for yourself is an option, or doing cash pay, or like that business ownership is an option too. So we've learned so much. But at the end of the day, Lauren, like, business is business. Starting a practice is starting a practice. And the more businesses I own or start to like work in and around, it's like profit margins, communication, running teams, systems, SOPs, expenses, netting, like all of that remains the same. I think one of the biggest things we're learning from each other is like, I've been doing brick and mortar for 7 or 8 years. He's been doing 6-figure plus online. I'm like, ooh, teach me that. And then I hit like, you hit your first 6-figure online, you're like, oh my gosh, like I want to add this to my brick and mortar. And then I teach him about like a sign in front of his thing. He's like, why would I need a sign? I'm like, so people can physically find you. And like, you know,
Let's
like,
post on Instagram. I
like,
don't know.
literally move it over. And then Google. I was like, you need to be on Google. And he literally said to me, Lauren, he's like, I don't want people to find me. Then Abby, they're just going to show up and come into my business. I'm like, that's clients.
Like, didn't want to have a Google listing?
It was okay. So for context, I built my business while I was in physical therapy school 100% online. So I never had a brick and mortar. And with like being online, I was like, I don't want people like showing weird people online. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get people like, when I first opened, I had a few people that follow me. They show up and they will come to the window to like take a photo with me or something. And I'm like, all right, I don't want people knowing where I am. So I never put location. Like, if you know, you know. But then she's like, what do you, like, it sounds crazy now. But like at the time I was like, no, all I have to do is post on Instagram, like, hey, I'm looking for 5 patients, and I'll have clients come in the door because that's what I do online. So
it's
I had no context.
Now, though. It's like
I had no context of like in person. So
and it's super cool, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. I wish we had that ability to just like
such a celebrity that people are.
It's so weird.
Come on in.
So as you guys started to like work together and like, or honestly, just even if you're going to a networking event in town, like and you're like more brick and mortar stuff, have you guys experienced like weird angst or hate about being like a Chiro and PT together?
No, I think people think it's the coolest thing ever.
Okay,
Like, I think,
so outside of the professions, yes.
oh,
Inside
you
the
mean,
profession, like so if you are talking then to more specific Chiro, like are Chiros like
um,
weird or PTs? Because I mean, Odell, I feel like I have seen some of your posts being like in defense of, yeah, chiropractic is amazing. Like almost
heck
having to
yeah.
like stand up for that.
Yeah, yeah. So that was like more in school too, because I didn't know, I've always been like that even before I met her. I was like, I love the chiropractic profession. Like they're crushing it in business. So in school, when they say they shouldn't crack this or crack that, I'm like, you guys have no idea. Like, what are you talking about? I didn't
You
experience
were actually
chiropractic
like
until the
you actually
NFL.
talked about that in PT school.
People in class, like small talk and debates and stuff, and I will always be on the side of, but I'm just like that mentally though. Like even when they say personal trainers shouldn't use the term DPT because it's dynamic personal trainer, I'm like, I couldn't care less if they call themselves physical therapists. I don't care if you open a physical therapy clinic next to me, I will beat you. So like I had that mindset, so that kind of tells you. But everybody had that competition mindset, like, oh, people are choosing between chiropractic or physical therapist. I said, hey, they're doing a really good job at marketing their services. So instead, what I want to do is learn how chiropractors are everywhere and they market their services. When someone says my back hurts, you don't think of a physical therapist, you think of a chiro. So at the end of the day, we have to market ourselves better. So I was on that side of it. And then funny enough, I graduated and met her. But online, I just know like putting in the bio physical therapy versus chiropractic will give us more views, get more followers and people on my page. So, but I do have sometimes once in a while, especially like the pediatric chiro, I get like people commenting like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they would do adjustments on babies or something. And I don't really understand it, but I just love it. I'm like, please keep commenting. How could you do that? I understand collaboration, but like you should never collaborate with someone's going to do that to a baby. But
so like you're fine with because I have a post right now that I'm like, so usually about once or twice a year, it's really nice for a write-off too, to like help justify like writing off travel. I will end up posting a video of me adjusting in a unique spot. Okay, so I've like posted me adjusting Charlie in Mexico, and I just posted a video in November of me adjusting Kirby at Tokyo Disney.
so smart.
Now, it wasn't just that. I made a little jab at like real doctor, whatever. And that bitch is like still getting it. I mean, it was literally mid-November. It's got over 2 million views and just the hate comments on there. And I have ended up taking down every single previous reel because it just gets too much. And I'm just like,
anytime she goes viral, once the haters come, she's like, I can't do it.
Oh, we got you. No, you.
I was like, I'm not taking it down this time.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just over here deleting comments because they're so mean. Bring it on.
It's like it's real people on the other side of that content. But at the same time, just have like, this is the perfect date night. Cause it's like, have people around you that like that same thing when you feel it. And we feel it at times. I'm like, oh my gosh. But like, we are each other's biggest cheerleader. And we're just like, there's always going to be haters. It means you're making an impact. It means you're being seen. And it's actually like, leverage it. We're like, bring it on. And then you start to like change your mindset that before it would scare me. I'd be like constrictive when I saw it. And now I'm like, oh, babe, someone put a hate comment or like someone, and then they'll go back and forth. There's like 32 comments and we're both like, cha-ching, like get more people to our page, get more people to chiropractic and physical therapy, help more business owners, and ultimately like share Jesus in the light. Like that's our job. So if we're focused on that, haters gonna hate. Like, you know what I mean?
Literally. And most times all the hater pages, they're like blank avatars anyway with no face on it. So I'm like, if this person saw me in person, they would be the same person wanted to take a photo at the conference. Like they're literally, they wouldn't say anything. Like, so I'm like, okay, cool.
And that always changed it for me. Like you always said, like, my job's to like, what's the one, like many eyes, your favorite?
Oh, you talking about the Bible?
Bible. Yeah.
Oh, Hebrews 12, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Therefore, since I'm surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus Christ, our author and protector of our faith. So like, because we have so many followers and stuff and people, all four of us, like people are watching us, we're called so much higher to be able to live as an example and to show people what we're doing. So I always told her when I first met her, she wasn't like doing huge online. I was like, you're doing the world a disservice that you're not showing what you're doing online because you're afraid of hate. There's so many females out there with kids that want to like do what you're doing and realize that that's possible. So you're actually doing a disservice for 10 people out of the one person that's going to be mad at you because you're not showing people what's possible.
I had to hear him pouring that love and light into me for like a solid 4 to 6 months. And he'd be like, say your numbers, say what you made on your Airbnb, say what you, and I'm like, no, like minimizing it. And now I'm like, holy Moses, a $3,000 like rental just came in, and like all these people are inspired by it. And it's like, if you're rooted in that, like having it unlock for other people, because the truth is like, if the four of us can do it, and when we unlock YouTube and Spotify and like, we're able to do these things, so can all of these people too, you know?
Right. So, okay. So I love how you guys kind of started in opposite things, you know, like Odell, you were all virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel restricted now moving into brick and mortar?
Yes. Okay. So,
because that's like the number one reason that like Abby and I are like, get me the fuck out of here. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. I have to be in this town.
Yes.
9 a.m. on Monday. Are you joking?
See, that's funny because I joined a physical therapy mastermind when I graduated because I was like, I'd rather pay for speed than to pay with my time. That's another business I like, obviously. So I did that and everyone was like, you're making $20K a month and you just graduated online? I'm like, yeah. Like, why the heck are you opening a clinic? I was like, because I can make more in the clinic. I don't know. Like, I just always said I was going to open a physical therapy clinic. And then opening a clinic, I was like, shoot, I have to like, I have to see everybody in person and like, yes, I have to be here. And I was like, okay, I love online. And that's how I make money in the clinic. I was like, it's so much easier online to make money. So now I'm learning, but now I'm setting my foundation in my practice to be able to operate without me. So being around like people like yourself and Abby and all these groups, like now I know how to build the team much faster. So this year, my team, like I have a full-time doc working now, and we went to Mexico last week, and for the first time ever in the last 11 months that I had the clinic open.
You graduated. You have a first doctor. You got to have patient care like 6 months.
There's so many people who've been open for 5 years who are like, oh, I feel so bad.
Like was like 6 months, and he's like, I can't see patients anymore. And I was like, are you retiring at 5 months of patient care? I was like, I'm going to crush you. I just need a minute to breathe, and then I'm going to crush you. And then I'm not going to hate. I'm going to learn from you because it's incredible.
But yeah, so he made like a sale last week, and he was able to see patients while I was gone. So I'm like, sweet. So even next week we're going to Vegas and like he's going to be seeing patients. We have like 4 new patients coming in. I'm like, perfect. So I can set that, but now I want to go pour a bunch back in online as well. So.
And I don't know, it took me a minute to realize that like what I wanted, not everyone else wants either. And I think about like your doc, he's so amazing. I'm so grateful we have him in and on that team. And I don't think his dream would ever be like, there's certain people that like the 4 of us might be like, we want to go to Europe for a month. We want to go here. Like we're so weirdos of like living our life really minimalistic and wanting to be super free in that way. Some other people like that would give anxiety to. They're like, I want to clock in and at 9 a.m.
know what I'm going to make every month.
And I'm building a house and I'm homesteading and like, this is my best life. And it's like, cool. You can actually have your best life. I can have my best life. These patients can have their best life. And like all of this ecosystem actually needs each other, because while you're seeing your patients, we're on the back end getting leads, taking care of things, being optimal, doing really good investments with the money so the business can keep growing and you can be secure in that job
your dream life,
and live your dream life too. And like, it's limitless.
So you guys both have this energy that is exploratory, that's always growing, that's always like kind of expanding. Where does that ever, do those big giant energy bubbles ever conflict? Like you guys both seem like you want to be free birds. How do you decide where to fly together?
Well, they both started they both launched a podcast. Separate podcasts, just both, right?
So is that how you keep the sanity and the goodness?
Yeah. Insanity and the goodness is a good way to put it. We're both like launching podcasts. We both are like go-getters, and it's going to have its obstacles, right? Like, of course, like we're both drivers and we're like let's go. But I'll tell him, I think I've thanked you 7,000 times because I've never felt in my life a partner that I can be myself with and say like, I can come home and be like, I want to buy a 20, unit apartment complex. He's like, cool. What do I need to do to support you? In the same way, he can come home and be like, I'm getting out of patient care. And I'm like, cool, let me get the whiteboard. Let's go through your numbers. So it's like navigating anything new is like, I keep going back to the Bible, but it's the truth. It's like marriage is like you go to the altar, it's sacrifice. So there's always going to be things that like, we're going to have to sacrifice some of that independence and bubble to be able to, but I truly know when we get in alignment, it's like going to be a multiplier too, But for me, like, it's always like something has to trump the other. And for me, like being with someone that's driven and meets me in that energy, exceeds it. It's the first friend that I've ever met that like exceeds my energy. I'm like, I'm kind of exhausted. This must be how people feel around me. Like, whoa, like we're doing what, So, and always dreaming bigger. Like if I have to say anything, it's almost like my tolerance for anything else has gone to zero. Because when I tell him my goals, he always like sees it and meets it. He's like, why would you shoot for 100,000? Like, why wouldn't we 250,000 followers? Or let me hook it up in this way. And hopefully I support you in the same way.
Yeah. And one of the cool things, like from what I understand, like you two, you guys have the perfect relationship as well. So we kind of have that in similar as well. So like the creative team, the creatives, like content, the BTS, like if I was in front of the camera, I would love to just BTS. I would be like a growth operator, find some creator and like film for them, follow them around and do their content. But I ended up being in front of the camera. But so we have that like relationship, which is cool. And she loves numbers. She loves like, like people and stuff. Like I'd rather like be behind the computer, just know people, just mad scientist sucker in my mouth type of thing. So it's really cool we have that relationship as well. So launching a podcast and stuff, like I'll set up the back end of that, make sure the team has the SOP of how that's going to look. Like I just say, hey, show up, press this button, use it. I bought the microphone, put it here and record.
Like I started
wherever.
a podcast.
Exactly how my podcast started.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know where they go after I exit out of a Zoom room and it says like converting and I'm like,
she just
now
walks
it's gone
away.
Forever. I don't know. And then,
I don't know when it's posted. I don't.
Yeah. It's like even he's been YouTubing for a while and even the YouTubes that are coming out, I was like, those are so cool. Now I'm finally sold. I'm like, give me the Osmo. Okay, now I understand what I have to do. And all I do is do that. And then you get like a YouTube back. And that's like you have to have that complimentary person. And we're learning that in business running too, of like my eyeballs like want to cry thinking of an SOP and writing out a whole sequence for our, automations and go high level, and he gets excited, and then I can roll in and I'll do one-on-ones with team and culture and pour into people, and he's like, thank you. Or like someone has a baby and I'm like, oh, let me and take care of this. And so it's like knowing each other's roles in it so that you're not trying to like burst each other's bubble. You're understanding what you both need to be doing. Otherwise, we'd be like,
do you see a future where you guys kind of combine brick and mortars?
Yeah.
That's a good question.
We like, I don't know, you're gonna have to log into YouTube to find it. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, Abby, do you picture like doing one-on-ones and trainings for his like front desk and his doctor and things like that?
We already have that.
Well, that's kind of what I assumed.
It's so cool.
So it's like, okay, so Odell is coming in and getting footage and doing all this. He's very integrated into your clinic. And you're kind of integrated into his, like.
Yeah, so kind of how we have it split too. So I run the creative team, like all the VAs that do all of our editing, all that type of stuff. And then like the back end of grassroots as well, as far as like automation sequences, emails, automation tags, all that type of stuff, like mini chat type of stuff, and AI. And then she handles like front end, like we have a meeting every Wednesday now with like Team Global, like we just did a HIPAA training and like different things like that I have zero interest in.
This will blow your guys' mind too. We're doing Wednesday team trainings with, guess what? Physical therapists and chiropractors. And we're teaching them together business and communication and patient and sales and
it's the same
front desk, and it's all the same. And we're also really open mind to say like, oh, what do you do when you do this? Okay, cool. This is what we do. And this is why. And that was my meeting yesterday, is like, be the light. Like the whole Oakland, like the biggest hospital here reached out, their pediatric therapy. It's all OTs, PTs, and speech therapists. And they're like, can you come? We see that you're collaborating with a PT. Like it was kind of hush hush. Like, would you guys do that with us? I'm like, yeah. And then I got a text and they're just like, this is so cool. We can't wait to learn how we can like integrate chiropractic and physical therapy together and work on our patients together and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is so dope. So I can't wait to bring more awareness and like to capture our Wednesday trainings too, which we're going to do like cross professionally and with our teams and
That's
stuff.
why the content's so powerful too. Even like locally, so many healthcare professionals, not just physical therapy and chiropractic as well, but have a ton of Chiro followers even before being involved in the Chiro world. But it's just cool because now they get to see what we're doing and we just show what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys seen, like, are you guys building the example that you want to be, or have you seen any other place that's done this? Because like we have friendship with PTs in our town, but there's still that like, if I send someone over there, I don't know if they're coming back.
Oh, that is a big thing too.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, we can be the change for that, because the other thing, like when we work with our NFL guys, or for me, I'll speak for myself. It was my first time working with him on a patient. It was so cool to be able to have him there assessing and doing his portion, and me be able to clear different things out and to like, just like be very vulnerable about like, oh, let me see if like how this clears out after you get done versus before. And let me have you do that release. And then I'll do a talus or foot adjustment. And it's so cool to see like immediate evidence. It's like proof of concept. You're like, oh my gosh, this works better together. And I'm sure in a few years, we're gonna be like, duh, like the same way, like, oh yeah, when I work out and eat right, it actually is like super helpful. You're like, oh yeah, cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so we refer a lot of patients back and forth. They have a higher volume. We're low volume, high ticket, and they're high volume. So all of our docs know as well. Like, so actually all of her docs came over to us to get care from my doc so they can like see what we do and know exactly what product they're sending people to. Then vice versa, having him come over and get adjusted for the first time. And he's like, oh, that feels good. And then he has a newborn. So it's like, oh, get your newborn in there. So now he's trusting it. And I even told him when I onboarded him, I said, hey, we get referrals from the thing is like, it's a mindset too, but it's cool. We get to show it. But like when someone sends me a patient and they're like, should I stop going to see my chiro or my massage therapist, my personal trainer? I'm like, no, I don't care who gets the credit. So I think as long as you don't care who gets the credit, I think it'd be fluid. But that owner that cares about them getting the credit, they're like, man, I feel so much better after coming to see you for 3 sessions. I'm like, I don't care who did it in conjunction with the chiro. And I always give them props. Like us working together is going to get you the best results.
And it's not that your massage therapist or your physical therapist wasn't doing anything. It was just more of a piece that was missing. And that's one of our culture values is like impeccable with our word. So we're on our team whenever there isn't on across the board for any professional or anything. We never speak to someone else's yard or what they do or don't do. We only speak to what we do.
Exactly.
It's super important.
Abby, how much are you adjusting now?
I am down to like 3 or 4 adjustments on one shift a week.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah. So I'll be done by, we head to Vegas to go train with the Hormozis next week. And Elise, I love her. But I'll be done after that. And then I'm learning in office, like my biggest levers of training, supporting my docs and what I need to be doing. And it's really getting dialed in, which feels really nice as well.
Really cool.
Like 3 years ago, was that a plan that you
No.
like wind down this much?
Not at all. No. I mean, I literally hired my first associate because I was just drowning and didn't pick my kids up ever one day a week. And then it grew out of like necessity of like, I love coexisting, manifesting with people. Like I love working on teams in that way. And my associate's like, I want to have a baby. I'm like, cool, let's hire on another doc. Like I love planning. My brain works that way. I have the end in mind. So now I'm going to work backwards to create this like thing that I never had as an associate or as a new mom or these different things. And then it's always been one of those things of like, you just realize where God's calling you in your genius zone, and anything that I've ever, it's like chiropractic, you want to share it with everyone. Then I like have had so many blessings of real estate. And I'm like, I've had stressful times in practice and it was not stressful because I had so much other cash flow going on. And I'm like, oh, I didn't have to worry about it. And I realized my friends that are chiropractors, did. And then you,
that one basket.
yes.
Like,
and
if
so
you have a bad quarter, like it is incredibly stressful.
yeah, it's so, and then even being in membership, like I just am like, wow, like our overheads hit in the first week of reoccurring. You know, even like right now I can get on and look at my reoccurring and know all my bills. And then I'm like, cool, anything we do, I can, you know what I mean? It just puts you in a different mindset. So I feel like God's like, cool, learn it and share it. Like you have to learn it and share it. So each new one, I'm like learning and sharing, and it's organically called me to the next. It's never been me like, I don't want patient care anymore. It's like, no, I know I can make a bigger impact doing these things. So I've almost like mourned I won't be as good in that way, or like, or I don't know, like whatever, our ego, right? Like, oh, Dr. Abby, like, you know, but I've never been one that needs to be. It's like he said, it's like, we always say that, you want to be right or do you want to be rich? Do you want to take the credit or you want to get people well? Do you want to have the autonomous clinic or do you want to be the one? It's like, we always choose the latter with that stuff. Mm-hmm. And I will say the other thing about like collaborative space, we've been looking at that. Like our dream would be to have a place where you can like walk in, have chiropractic open bay, have turf, a full-on gym, have a content room, glass wall meeting room, just like dope build out, like the headquarters basically.
I can see that for you guys. I like that. I like that. So how is talk to me about podcasting? Do you love it still?
Oh. Yeah, it's another thing. It's not, I think it's like everything. People think it's gonna be one way and you have to be doing it for the right reasons. I went into it knowing it's a 5-year game. You know what I mean? Like I have no expectations around it. It's top of funnel stuff. And I'm also utilizing, like no one could listen to it. I'm still clipping those audio clips out from my Insta for this, for school, for whatever. And it's a funnel to get people like to build rapport and trust. And just for me, I'm a big strategy person. Like he's so inspirational and an amazing speaker. And I love sharing like strategy. So I'm constantly spitting. It's truly in alignment with who I am because
literally,
yeah, I just am constantly, he's like, you should have been recording that. I'm like, eh. And now I'm learning to like grab the shirt and just record it quick. And I could never do it without our team. Like our team does, like you, like it's just like, yeah, I'm so great.
What's so cool about that? Like even looking at you two, you know, like people probably thought you were an overnight success. It's like you put in the reps for probably years on podcasts. So same with content. So having that foundational understanding is like, hey, we have 7 or 8 episodes up. This is like a 4 or 5 year thing out. It's not going to happen like that. But most people quit early on. So we just always have to put in the reps and then make it like evergreen. Like she said, being able to record it, use this podcast, put it on YouTube, put it everywhere, and just keep planting those seeds. And then making it super easy, frictionless to be able to record that. I'm the opposite of her. She, like, that's why I was like, you should be podcasting. It's crazy. When I met her, I was like, why are you not filming this? Why are you not on social media? Why are you not podcasting? Like, she does it all day talk. So it's like, all you have to do is put a mic in front of you and talk and post it. People need to hear that. So it's really cool. Like, super in alignment with her for sure.
And the same thing, my podcast would be 1.5 episodes right now, and it would look like a 4-year-old did it. And like if I didn't have him, and that'd be what like all that got out. And instead I'm like sending it to my mom, like, legit this looks like
how does this look?
I'm like, it's real. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, it looks like legit, man. You know?
You were talking about a podcast 3 years ago.
Yes, on my list, like my whole list.
Like
and it's funny, chiropractor's on your list.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. They're, they keep going. The episodes, they keep going every week. That's a thing.
That can be
That's so cool.
You're super energized about it. Well, I mean, if you can batch your recordings.
Well, and yours, like Abby, are you trying to stick? Like, are you both, Odell? How long are your episodes?
Mine are like quick hits, like 10 to 12 minutes once a week. I can see hers are like 27 minutes.
Yeah.
27 minutes. And we're going to pump out more of hers. So you can have like 3 a week. She can just pump them out. Mine, I'm going to stick to 1 a week. I'm doing 2 YouTube vlogs a week as well. And then obviously content.
It's a whole nother job, as you guys know, like learning content and learning online. And I can't wait to hear like what you guys are up to too. And
yeah, I was just about to ask a question about that too. And what's cool about speaking with you're doing, this is like top of the funnel activity right here. Like you being able to speak like, I think I saw a chart somewhere where it's like you have like implementers managing the people who are like employees, and then above that, then the person coming up with the idea, then speaking and like being visionary and like talking, and it's top of the funnel. What tips do you guys have? Like, what's your structure of podcasting?
Oh my God. Well, so
Give
we
us all the
just
tips.
hired there was no strategy. There was no strategy at all.
No idea for monetization.
I love that though.
Just wanted to do
But
something.
it actually hit real fast. Like the first episode was 1,000 downloads in the first week.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, yeah.
There was a social media strategy behind that. That was all her.
There was a launch strategy with that. So because there was no She Slays Instagram. Like I decided I was going to start a podcast, and I started like 6 weeks before the first episode. I created the Instagram account for it. And then it wasn't until like I had already publicly committed that I was doing this podcast that I found out that the average podcast gets like 130 downloads. And I'm like, oh, hell
Crazy.
no. No.
Not worth it. I'm not.
No, I can't. I am not. I would not have done my reps for that shit. And so like, luckily, God was like, okay, this vain ass bitch, she needs numbers. I've got a big mission for her. Y'all are gonna have to come listen to her, otherwise she's gonna quit too soon. I know her.
Oh man.
And so no, it did. It wasn't until it was like, oh, we have a thing. What do we do with this? And then we started to learn monetization.
Yes.
And then I had, people wanting me to come speak on stages and at conferences. And it was like, yeah, can you pay me? And they were like, no, but you can promote from stage. And I was like, cool. I
Our
can
free
promote my free
podcast.
podcast.
You gonna say promote what? Yeah, like promote
I'm
what?
like, I don't have anything to promote. Okay. And so that's when then it was like, and then I would have people like DMing me being like, I love your podcast on this. Do you do coaching? And I'm just not like a typical coach type person. Like I'm very not patient. Like if you have not implemented what I have told you 2 times already to do, I don't know how to help you, Gina. Like done.
That's me.
Done.
I'm so not
I
patient.
told you what to do and you haven't done it yet. So I'm not a good like coach.
Yeah.
I'm a good, consultant, project management type person. So then we started like the course. That was nice because I would have people being like, oh, I loved your episode on this. I just started coaching with somebody else. And I'm like, cool. So I'm glad you got my free content, and then are turning around and giving somebody else $800 a month. And so there was really this monetization gap where it was like, it started with like, this is going to be a fun hobby. Like, and then it was like, oh, this is fun. I do enjoy doing this, but this is taking a lot of time, and it's good creative energy. Like Odell, I feel like I'm very much more like you in the sense that like creating reels is like a part of my, like they talk about bringing in feminine energy, and they're always like painting or like, all this stuff. And I'm like, for me, editing, creating a reel is that like creative feminine flow energy type thing. And so I loved it, but it was like, all right, now if I'm going to spend this much time, I need to really get clear on like, what am I supposed to be doing with this? What is the point of this? And then like, how can it sustain itself? Like, I would love, so that's where it was like turning it into a product type thing.
Well, and for the first 2-3 years, I was editing all of them. Like personally on my computer, just Adobe Audition, taking all the time. And like until we monetized and were able to offload the editing portion of it, it was just kind of like it was taking up so much time. And we have all these other businesses that it was like, I do love this. It's a labor of love, but like, where's this going?
Yeah.
But then it just kind of unlocked with the monetization, with being able to outsource some of the stuff. It allowed us to get a lot more creative and help a lot more people. And get a lot bigger reach too.
Yeah. So
That's so cool.
now like the next thing is like, now we have like some VAs and this and that. Now I feel like you can probably relate to this, is like my next thing is always founded in solving a problem that the world has been coming to me, right? Like I feel like
Yes, I was gonna say that about you. Yes.
Yeah. So it's like I love the idea of being in control of my future, but I also think that one of the smartest business decisions is like, well, what are people turning and asking you?
Yes, that's such a huge unlock. Like people are like, what should I do? That's how I started every single one. That's how I started making that money in school. I was working out and showing myself in the gym. People were like, how are you getting fit like this? And their office with theirs following me. They're like, I want to live what I preach. And I'm like, wait, people struggle with this? They're like, do you do any programs? They're like, no, now I do. I had 12 people signed up before I even have one program written.
Right.
And then with our mentorship group, so when I opened up the clinic, people were like freaking out, like, oh my gosh, how did you do this as a new grad? How'd you pay for everything? What do you mean? I've had a business for the last 3 years. Like, what do you mean? And then they were like, how did you do that? I want to do that same thing. Do you have a mentorship group? And I'm like, no. Do you mentor people? No. Do you mentor people? No. So after like 50 to 100 people asked me that, I was like,
maybe I should mentor
okay, maybe I
people.
should start mentoring. So then I started a group and we had, I think, 2,500 people in it, a Facebook group. Then I was like, whoa, something's here. So now we're doing the school thing, but it's crazy. Like, just like you said, like, let the audience tell you what you, just show what you're doing and people are going to ask and let you know what your next move should be.
Yeah. Tell us about the school thing. Like, what is this?
So
that's
HBA.
yeah, so basically, yeah, HBA. So basically, it's just what I said as well. Like people started asking me for mentorship, and then I started a mentorship group, not knowing what I was going to do with it. Similar to you with the podcast, I was like, well, I just know attention is the greatest asset. Let me just make a go high level form, collect all this information in their phone, email, phone number, whatever, and then I started a group and put them all on Facebook. And I was like, I'm not posting in Facebook. Like, what am I supposed to do with these people? Like, I'm trying to build a clinic here, and then. I saw the school games with Hermosi, and then I was like, what is this group? I was like, oh, it's where you can like hub your group or whatever. So then I started that, and I was like, oh, I can make like evergreen courses. Just put a course in there, put some classroom courses, and it can be evergreen. Then we do like one call a month and do like low ticket because I didn't want to like get on sales calls because I'm still focused on the clinic. And then that's how that kind of bred.
And make it like entry level from anywhere from students all the way to like docs that are practicing. And one of the biggest things I kept telling Odell, I'm like, baby, chiropractors do not know how to do content. They do not know how to like brand in this way. They don't know how to create this. I'm like, I am telling you, we could make a course for this alone. And the other thing is like the same way when you are in chiropractic school or any sort of healthcare, like honestly, like it's an unlock for me to go from, oh, I resonate with 100,000 chiropractors to like our group now that we resonate with are 1.4 million people worldwide. So a lot of people that are paying us are all over the world. Like we got a painful the other day from like Germany,
UK, Brazil, Mexico.
So like
real money. So I'm like, oh, it unlocks you to the entire world.
But like what I was going to say with the sales thing is like, the same way you don't know how, like being a doctor and being a business person are two separate things. It's two separate things being brick and mortar, knowing how to do a day one, day two, and then understanding the world of online. It's the first time I had heard things like a funnel or a CTA or how to do any of this. So you probably are like, sweet, people keep saying they're getting rich online. Let me throw a story up. And then it's crickets. It's like, no, there's actually a whole setters, closers. There's a whole system. And it's overwhelming. So like HBA is this really basically free. It's $57 a month for people to get in and see it, see how a school is set up. And it made so much sense in my brain. My whole office is recurring revenue. My whole life is recurring revenue. So it's like, this is another aspect of recurring revenue that we can build out. And we're like, we will live off of that, pay our VA, our personal assistants. Our offices can just keep like cash flowing and building healthy companies that we can exit and then put all of our wealth building into real estate. And after Kirby's course that we're going to do some Bitcoin crypto.
Yes.
We got a little bit in
I got some crypto. I don't know much about it. I just know I need to be in it.
I know I need to be over there.
Yeah.
You need to have some exposure. Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't know about it, but I think
I'm about to. I love that. I'm about to. I'm like, here. Lauren's like, why are you sending me all this money?
I'm like, why did you Venmo me $14,000?
Thank you. Thank you, Venmo.
Give this to Kirby. He's like, what?
Like, I don't think this is from Odell.
Yeah. Here you go.
I have a question for you guys. I love hearing like organizational structures and stuff. If you guys don't mind sharing on the podcast, like what is your structure? Like, do you have like I don't know, what's your structure? Like VA structure, all that type of stuff. You have an assistant at home helping you cook. Like, what's that look like?
So we don't have any home help. But we did like make a conscious effort. Like we chose to live where we live because of its vicinity to grandparents. So like my heart, I would live near the ocean.
Yep.
But or even like the west side of Michigan is gorgeous. Like Pentwater.
Come on over.
I would do that. But
Kirby's
his family's in our town. My parents are 3 hours away. So we have really amazing support with grandparents and family. Our kids are growing up with their cousins and our best friends. And it's just like this wholesome, like, okay. But there's a lot less resources as far as like finding home
finding
help.
like a cleaning lady or a nanny or whatever is really difficult.
So, but Kirby does like ultimately right now, Kirby and I are both full time, and we each have our own VA, and we have an editor for the podcast. And then like his VA, so like I am a master delegator. Like I literally just am like, I have this idea and I like.
And I am very good at
I'm done
until I get it. So.
Like I do very little. It's almost hilarious how much like I just skirt through the businesses just being like the cute talent or what. And so like I have my VA, so we got my VA, so I would stop offloading things onto Kirby. And then eventually that's when he got his VA that he could like
delegate
down
more.
Some
of the more simple stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, really, that's kind of it right now. It's kind of like this messy, like we have to get clearer because like we have some ideas as far as like what the She Slays brand is going to do over the next few years. And like Kirby and I, marriage first, had to go like, okay, I love working. Like I really love, I don't feel sad that I'm missing like pickup or things like that, like school pickup. Like we do dinner every night with our family and stuff. Like I would love traveling with them more, but they are in a school district where they're not homeschooled. So we kind of have like that weird thing going on where it's like, well, we're kind of restricted. If we're not restricted by our work, we are restricted by our kids' damn school, who likes to send like truancy letters of like,
yeah, we go on too many vacations. So we always
you guys are going too much.
We have to report that your child has been gone for more than 10 days. And you know the importance of them being in school. And we're like,
they're fine.
They're getting straight A's.
They're fine.
Like,
they're fine. But yeah, so like, no, I think that I am like, if I were going to tattoo something on my forehead, it is like messy action of like, I do not care about things being perfect. It's more like, I like putting something out there and then pivoting and responding. So I think we're kind of in the point now with all of the businesses where we're starting to get a lot more organized because ideally I want to like double my online workload, if not triple it. But in that same process, we want Kirby to be able to be more focused on a grounded home and like, I have no expectations that you'll clean, no offense, but just like as we have more and more things, we realize like the importance that like Kirby wants. We do need someone for the kids and things like that.
Yeah, and just I don't run at the same high level that she does. Like I'm creative and philosophical, but I don't need it to be seen. Like so, I might if we had our druthers, I might spend more time meditating, more time reading, more time outside.
Well, and you like playing with the crypto, that
playing with the crypto
thing that he's got.
Playing with lots of money. He's like playing with the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I would do more stuff like investing in small businesses and like helping them grow. But like there's not a lot of opportunity to discover that while we're just like so both running at what we have going on right now. So
okay, so where can people find more of you? Like how you're gonna have to walk us through the school thing because a lot of like this is new to a lot of people, but like how can people find you guys?
So the easiest way would be to follow us on Instagram at Odell Miller 25, Odell Miller 25, and you can simply send me a message that says free access, and you get 7 days for free in our community where you get to see inside. And this community is for those that are looking to scale to 15 to 20K a month. And And we give systems, we give a bunch of secrets and things away in there. Like we're an open book, as you probably can tell in this podcast as well, how to grow your following. And then she has a course in there too, like how to actually like grow your earnings and stuff and make it passive with real estate. She helped me buy my first duplex this year out of school. So now I'm making passive money as well. So we teach all that in the course as well. And then obviously follow her as well on Instagram.
Literally 1 year out of school, I'm like, oh yeah, how is that account doing? He's like, I don't know. Oh, there's 7K in there. I'm like, well, that's good. Like, it's just like, you have to like keep squirreling these little cash flowing, and you should set them and forget them. And the other thing is that was a deal that we did where we bought it so much under that it already had like 50K of equity in it for him because the purchase price and the appraisal were way off. And this guy was offloading a whole portfolio. The last one, he wanted to get to Florida. And we were like, we don't care. Like, hey, we'll pay you this. And it was before winter. So you can do some fun things to like time it too and be like, we don't actually care. So mine is Dr. Abby Sirovica on Instagram, and he nailed it. A lot of the startup stuff's that 10 to 20,000. The other people that school is going to be good for are like, say you have $1 million clinic, but you have no personal brand. You have no Instagram. You have no idea to do what with content, or you don't really know the foundational things of like real estate investing, very introductory, right? It's always like, you go through it and then you teach what you did or just explain what you did. Like I would never be speaking to what I want to work on now, which is bigger apartment complexes or syndications or acquisitions of cash flowing companies and stuff like that. But you better bet, check with me in 2 to 3 years, because I'm going to have a course on that.
Yep.
But like if you're getting into your chiropractor, you want your first Airbnb, you are out of school and you want to know like, the first way to introductory, I have no money. How do I get into real estate? I can help you with like, here's exactly what I would do in my first few years of practice. And here's exactly what I've learned, the highs and the lows of like Airbnb properties. And, you know, it's really cool because I told him, I'm like, I just offloaded 2 of my Airbnbs that were at 86% occupancy. And I'm like, it's a pretty interesting thing. I never thought I'd get to a point in my life where I'm like, baby, this only makes me like 2K a month. It's a pain in the butt. I'm going to just get rid of it, grab the 100K, roll it into something. And I'm like, who am I? You know, so like just being able to start to, you know, those things. So.
Well, thank you guys so much. We'll make sure that we have those Instagram handles below too.
Thank you guys for having us. Seriously.
Dude, best date night. This is the perfect date night talk.
Literally.
Just so you know. Otherwise, we don't want to hang out with people.
We can't talk business. We don't want to hang.
We're just like awkwardly like, we have to go home and work. They're like, it's Friday at 6. We're like, we know.
Yeah. All right. Well, until next week, She Slayers. Bye.